If they do an update on Teams and if it's on, perhaps have they do an update and freeze the whole thing.
We have to print a giant.
So I gotta reload the whole thing. So, we're gonna start with, we're going to Texas. Everyone applaud, exactly. And same note, take your notes out then. I will. Should we add the Colts to this test too? We will do a little, you remember most of it.
No.
You missed last time. All right, here we go.
I have two things for you.
Two things? Oh, very good. Let's get to Bragg Road. I'm excited for this. Yesterday's. And now it wants to update again. You're not letting it update again. Not now. Where's the river?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, oh, by the way, remind me, I have more stuff for you to filter through if you guys want.
What?
Some of it's good, some of it is really good. Okay,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, I did my presentation on Bragg Road. It is also called Ghost Road of Saratoga, Lights of Saratoga, Bragg Light. So if you can combine Ghost Road, Saratoga, and Light, any way you can combine those, you probably have a name. So it's a dirt road, near the ghost town of Bragg, Texas, in the Big Thicket Forest of Southeast Texas. And so it's there in relation to Texas, the very corner. And it was originally finished in 1904. And at that point, there were railroad tracks being moved to connect the town of Bragg, Texas, which was a boom town, and now there is a population of 0, to Saratoga, Texas, which was a much bigger town, but now it is only 1,000 people. And eventually the road was torn out, and so now it's mainly just traveled as a tourist attraction. And so here's the town of Bragg, and then here's the road. And so the road starts here and it goes on for about 8 miles. And the big background is that when someone travels the road at night, there's this light that pops up and it flashes. And here's a ghost video of some ghost hunters.
Ooh, it worked good. Do we have volume?
I think there are sounds, but I don't know. I think it's just people getting excited.
Kind of, I've seen a light on a bug.
Yeah. So that's the entire thing. That's the entire gimmick. It's just a flashing light. And it's really itty bitty. And so the myth is based, there's this big ghost story, there's a couple, most of the information comes from the website US Ghost Adventures, which I'll get into in my personal evaluation. But on their website, they are clearly the most reliable source, because so they say that Bragg Road is, many say, they don't say who many, but just many people say that it's the most haunted road in America. At least one person has reported being attacked. They don't know who, but at least one of them. And at least that it's pitch black except for the spooky Saratoga lights. And those who travel the road often say that the Saratoga lights appear almost nightly. Okay. And so then the two possibilities are a railroad accident and then a missing bride. So the first one is there was a 1901 railroad accident that did for sure happen. That but they said, so then the rest of this is a myth. So they said that the conductor had to stay on schedule. He was going too fast and the train derailed, and in that he got decapitated, and so he in the afterlife grabbed a lantern and is now forever looking through his head, and so that's the source of the light. The second thing is a missing bride. So there was a wedding in Bragg, Texas. That's an abandoned house in Bragg, Texas. So you know it's a really good town. So there was a wedding, and then they went to their honeymoon like 5 miles away. And one night the bride went for a walk and then she never came back. And so then it said that the husband went out looking for her. He rushed out and grabbed the lantern and then rushed out and also never came back. And so the lantern is him searching for his wife. So of course, as fun as these are, there are some normal explanations. So the first one is swamp gas. But there's a phenomenon called the will-o-wisp where gases are combusted in a way that makes there's a little light and you can't ever really reach it. And but according to US Ghost Adventures, the most reliable source, not enough study has been done on will-o-wisp, so it has to be ghosts.
Yeah.
So because so much more study has been done on ghosts than anything else. The second one is it's a road, so probably headlights.
No.
It's also right next to a highway, so like here's the road and like right here's a highway.
No.
So that's the thing, and then people are known to just go out on the road and turn their their headlights on and off to mess with people. So that is also something that people do. And then the other thing is multiple people have mistaken fireflies for this light, so that is a very common thing as well. But none of these things are true because it's obviously ghosts. So the public reaction, it's a very popular tourist attraction. There's these county signs on either side of the road that have this really spooky Ghost Road Scenic Drive, and then it has a little plaque about the story of Ghost Road. And then it's super dark. There's a big canopy of trees, and so people think, ooh, it's scary. And there's like a ton of frogs and different animals, so that it has this atmosphere that can't really that makes it very popular. And then the other thing is it's just become a really big like social media phenomenon where people go, ooh, I'm traveling down Bragg Road. And then they post a video of it, and it's really, I went through a lot of really awful videos.
Thank you for doing that for us.
Of people. And so this is an example of so people will make their like YouTube thumbnails and they'll have like the bloody font or whatever. And so this is one of my favorites, where you can't really see it because it's red, but it says ghost lights. In bright red with blood dripping down. And then the title is Bragg Road and Saratoga Ghost Lights at 3 a.m. So you know.
We see it better if I do. Oh, whoa! One more try.
That's
Oh.
So yeah, it's pretty scary.
There we go.
Yeah.
Try to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could sleep after that. And so that's like the picture of their video. Is that where with the edited sign is the blood words. So my personal evaluation is the ghost lights are very fun and it's a fun tourist attraction. But all of the videos I've seen of it are just people going absolutely insane over this little tiny light that is 100% headlights. And then there's always a cut like 5 minutes after when a car would maybe pass them. And one of the videos actually showed the car. And so they were like, oh my God, it's the ghost lights. And then they kept filming and they were talking and then the car passed them. And they just didn't say anything about it. And the most terrifying part of it is the company. The company isn't known for being the most safe. There's actually, they do it all across the country. They do ghost tours. There's a tour guide in Hella. And it's a little scary. He takes you down dark alleyways And
In Helena?
yes, in Helena. You
Field
can go
trip.
on a, they were hiring, and so I went and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll apply at the Ghost Tours company, and so then I had to go on a practice tour. And I had the script, and this guy starts taking everybody on these really weird like side alleyways in the dark.
For a job for this project.
No, it was a long time ago.
Oh,
like a couple, like
It was during the summer. Yeah.
yeah, it was over the summer. And so
So you've been planning this.
yes, I have. And he took us down all these dark, like side alleys, and it was really scary. I thought, yeah, it was bad. And then the website is also just kind of bad, and all of their writing is not good, and they just make things up, and they're like, at least one person has been attacked. And it's
What?
all
They do with like Anchor Park too.
oh yeah, they're parts. I can't remember most of the script, but it was bad because I had to rewrite it. They were yeah, but yes. So I mean, that's my pre-life as a ghost.
Very good, I like that. So any question, you're saying it's, which one though, is it, is it the bride?
Oh, I think the most likely is probably the railroad accident because there is documentation of a railroad accident occurring. And the only place that had the bride was this US Ghost Adventures website. And so there is a possibility that they made the entire thing up.
But they're super.
Yes.
Did you ever figure out the difference between Bragg Road and Old Bragg Road?
Yes. Okay, so the map we had I zoomed in. When you zoom into Bragg, Texas, there's a intersection between Bragg Road Old Bragg Road and then Old Bragg Road again. So there's two Old Bragg Roads that intersect. And then one of them transfers into something just called Bragg Road, and that's when it starts. The Ghost Road is when it transfers to Bragg Road. That's how it starts. But that's the only difference between Bragg Road and Old Bragg Road. Yeah.
Why is the conductor continuing to look for his head on that one road if we still not find it?
You know, I think that's a question for the conductor. I think we need to go down to Texas and see.
The conductor doesn't have a head, so he doesn't know where he's looking.
Exactly.
This is science.
I have a children. No.
Any other questions?
Did you have a question, Fiona?
No, I was gonna stick up for the ghosts of what Partridge says.
I jumped your. All right, good job. All right, very good. So we're gonna take yellow school bus and go down
Oh yeah.
Bragg Road.
I actually drove by it when I was.
Can't see.
You'll find.
You'll never find it.
So who's doing the National Security Act now?
Eyeballs. It's me.
The mystery of the National Security Act, that'll be a fun one.
How did he find the lantern in the first place if he didn't have the head to find it?
We will find it.
I'm finding a lot.
Oh, wait a second.
I went too far, I'm sorry. Can you go back?
Give me one sec.
I'm expecting this to be.
It's not as good as my other one, I'm sorry. I've been busy.
I'm gonna write that at the top.
And if you ask really nice, maybe I'll show all of you my picture that I took of the Loch Ness.
You didn't send it to me, I couldn't put in the.
Oh, I didn't send it to you?
No, it's so sad.
That's shameful.
That's why. Sorry, this isn't working.
Mine didn't save for that, mine's on a weird animation, so I think, you know, I guess.
You really have something together for real. Really, really, really.
All right, I will, if we have any time at the end, I will show you. I totally forgot.
Fine. Thanks, beautiful. Cause it's not real. Okay,
Here we go.
so,
Did I move the mouse? Yep.
yes, I did the Loch Ness Monster. My mouse isn't working.
It's the monster.
It's
I
like
like
Ghost
so
Bragg
long.
Road. It's like conductor again. Okay. So the monster resides in the Loch Ness Lake, which is in the Scottish Highlands. It's the largest body of fresh water in Great Britain. It's 23 miles in length and about 800 feet deep in the deepest parts of it.
One of its, I mean, pretty much the only legend is the Loch Ness Monster, commonly referred to as Nessie, a creature that inhabit the densest lake. Historical references to the Loch Ness creature date to around 500 AD when there were carved images of this eel-like creature. After someone visited the lake. The earliest written account is a 7th century biography of Saint Columba, who was sent to the lake to help someone who had been attacked by the monster. And this is the depiction of him. He basically just told the monster to go away, and the monster went away. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I believe it. Because it has been attacking people, obviously. He invoked the name of God and commanded it to retreat, and then it never came back. So modern interest in the Loch Ness Monster started around 1933, coinciding with the construction of a new road along the lake that provided better views of the water. So that year, 1933, there were multiple witnesses reporting a large unidentified creature. One person described a dragon or prehistoric monster, which kind of started the whole obsession. In response to the growing public curiosity, the British newspaper Daily Mail commissioned big game hunter Marmaduke Wetherill. I don't know how to say his name.
Marmaduke doesn't sound British. That's who
He wasn't a British man, he was just commissioned by the newspaper. He reported discovering large footprints that I couldn't find any photos of. I tried. Along the shore, which he claimed to be the massive animal, but the Natural History Museum later determined that the tracks were a hoax. This was that same year, so this all happened in like 6 months of each other. Despite this setback, the public's fascination with the creature intensified. These reports were continued growing after the expedition was sent out. So Robert Kenneth Wilson photographed a picture of the Loch Ness Monster. Oh, okay. So Robert Kenneth Wilson, who's in the middle, took that picture of the Loch Ness Monster. And it became known as the surgeon's photograph. So this was kind of the big thing that's got all the interest of the Loch Ness Monster. The photograph was revealed to be a hoax in 1994, where Wilson was literally just used a toy submarine because he wanted to get reportedly wanted to get revenge on Weatherdale. I couldn't actually find any reports of their beef with each other, but I had like 2 newspapers saying that they were mad at each other. So, yeah. Okay. So scientific investigations into the Loch Ness Monster have been extensive, but kind of not really coming up with anything. There was sonar explorations of the Loch Ness in 1987 and 2003, which came back with occasional unexplained underwater movements, but no evidence of a large creature. There was a 2018 environmental DNA study which found large eels, but no Loch Ness Monster. So
That's the eel.
that's the eel. That's one of the eels. I forget that I put that on. Okay, so alternative explanations for this, for the Loch Ness Monster sightings or the unexplained waves in the lake have been seiches, which is a water phenomenon that causes different oscillations in the water surface, which kind of makes for unusual effects. So it could potentially make someone see that like there was a weird movement that people thought was a tail or something. Or just like misidentified animals, floating debris, or illusions, or a submarine that somebody thought was a monster. Okay, so the Loch Ness Monster has been a pretty big thing for a long time, and a lot of people have tried to find him, but nobody has ever succeeded. However, that doesn't stop people from making movies and videos and all sorts of things about it. So you want to remind me that there was a movie called The Water Horse, which is about the Loch Ness Monster, and I actually have not seen it for a while, so I can't
It's
say the plot,
fantastic. It
but
was a terrible cover art.
it's beautiful. I choose the best cover art. I try to find the most unrealistic one. But then there's also horror stories about the Loch Ness Monster, which I watched one of the videos, and it's literally just somebody talking about a boat crash that had nothing to do with an animal at all in the Loch Ness Lake. So I don't know why it's called the Loch Ness Monster horror story. It's a pretty popular cultural icon of Scotland and the Loch Ness Lake, even though belief in the creature is pretty low. It's just kind of a fun speculation. I think there's probably something in the water. It's probably an overgrown eel, is my guess that people have been seeing. Yeah, that's what I got. Oh, this guy, I don't remember his name, I didn't write it down, but I should have. He's been studying Loch Ness Monster for 73 years. His entire life, he's tried to find this thing, and he has succeeded, and it made me feel really bad for it, but he's like.
So he's still there. He runs a research center.
He does, yes, he
Yes,
was a research
and-
center.
I met him.
What?
Yes. Yes, I met him.
So
The
why
day-
don't you have a picture of him?
But I asked him about the Loch Ness Monster, yeah. So he pays for his research, you pay for a boat tour of the Loch Ness. And the thing about it, the water is called the root beer. So it's just so dirty, you can't see anything, so that's why. Yeah, that's really funny. I wrote down his name somewhere, I gotta find it again, it's really funny. And he was like, it's there, and I took a picture. Any questions about Loch Ness?
So if it's been a thing since at like the very latest, the 1930s. I think there's stuff going beyond, but people also said same spot dragons, so I put little stock in that.
Right.
Why hasn't it, like, wouldn't it be dead already?
Well, okay, that's the thing, is it might just be a weird gene that keeps getting passed on to people, and that's why they keep seeing this thing. Or it just might be, magic creature that lives forever.
Or they have.
I like to believe that they had too much scotch. That's the most likely.
You know anything about Scott? That's a very good possibility.
I don't think give scotch truthy.
No, but
Although I think you should try.
Stop
See
you
what
that
that ends up like.
Is it?
Did you look at the museum that's next to Loch Ness at all? Because there's a whole museum of
Yeah.
I
It was fun. It was
It's a-
great.
whimsical time, because they have like the pictures and then like, could be a duck. Like they're like hard to, could be a duck, could be driftwood, and then they have pictures like submarines with a neck. And then they have like artist renditions of what Nessie could look like.
My favorite one is the one on the second slide where his log is very thin, and I just think it's.
There's no way that is physically sustainable.
It's a monster. That is the mythical monster.
Okay, well,
Anything is possible.
I didn't think that it
So
could
close.
support itself.
Like that's why it's in the water.
All right, so
Oh, what?
just so you know,
Please do short.
that is my picture.
Whoa.
That's
That
fine.
was real. This is
I
true.
took that.
This is proof.
That is true.
So who put that out there?
Who put that out there?
It's
What do you
right
mean who
next
put that
to
out there? It's the Loch Ness Monster. I'm on that boat. You can see the hair of somebody.
If its neck is so long, is the neck going all the way under the
Right.
water?
I really
back
hope so.
That's not what it looks like in the pictures.
Why are you?
It's a baby Loch Ness
Do you want to hate the monster for
Okay, so we're on this boat tour. It was great. And it's actually kind of cold too. There's the- And it was in June. And he said, the guy's like, okay, you can take a picture of the Loch Ness. And we looked over and on the glass is that little silhouette. So if you get your camera just right, it can look like you're taking a picture. It's a silhouette. At least that's what we're told.
But they didn't even do a well-drawn silhouette.
I think they're really good. Wes. At silhouettes of a fake monster.
I thought.
All right.
Yes, I do. think
Do you want to see more pictures of me in Scotland?
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna get them.
No.
All right, good job. Britt, you ready?
Yeah.
You and me.
Yeah, my notes
woman
before I
hated
do.
it.
What?
Not the long.
I hate Brad Road because it's a
Okay, I'll show you one more. There's a seagull on Loch Ness. Okay.
I changed everything.
Britt, I have, yeah,
You do?
I have your paper.
Oh, that's fine.
Did you turn in your notes? I don't think I have your notes.
Guys, it's.
I don't think I have.
It is not.
Sorry.
No, it's not. You are lying. You're so wrong.
I can get those to you tomorrow on the
Yeah,
street.
get them. All right. All right, here we go. Give me 1 sec to put it up there.
I want a cookie. So bad.
I don't know how to help you.
DB Hoops. Put it down.
Yes, I do.
All right, give me 1 sec. All right, nice job. These are, Hey, the Loch Ness is a great story. That's a fun one. We've had two really good ones, a lot of pressure on. Oh, we have DB Coop. Good, all right.
Okay, so this is the mystery of DB Cooper. It's not really a myth, per se. Some background. DB Cooper is the alias of an unidentified man who hijacked the Northwest Orient Flight 305 going from Portland to Seattle in November 1971 on a Boeing 727 jet. He made demands, dropped passengers off, and then parachuted out when the plane took back off. I'll go over all of that. And his true identity and fate is still unknown. DB Cooper, as I said, it was just an alias used. He appeared to be in his late 40s, or I should say late 30s, sorry. Late 30s, early 40s. He was wearing a business suit, blacked out sunglasses. He was polite and calm, according to the plane staff. What happened was he got on board this flight, and about 10 minutes into the flight, he handed a note to a flight attendant saying that he had a bomb. Well, the flight attendant thought that, like, he just wanted her number or something. He thought that he was just trying to hit on her. So she ignored it, and for another 10 minutes. And then he said, "Miss, I think you better open that note." She opens it, sees that he has a bomb, and she opens it, sees that he says that he has a bomb, sits down next to him. He opens his briefcase, and she described it as like 4 cartoonish red cylinders that like looked like something Wile E. Coyote would have. He had stick dynamite. After that happened, he started making demands. He demanded that the flight attendant stay next to him while he did it, and he would write his demands out on a note, have the other flight attendant bring it up to the cockpit, and that was how he communicated with the rest of the staff. Yeah, so Florence Schaffner was the flight attendant that he first made the note to. Large battery, looked like dynamite. So what he first told the cockpit was that he demanded $200,000 by 5 p.m. Or else he would blow up the plane. And then he wanted 2 front parachutes and 2 back parachutes, and said that he was thinking about taking a hostage so that they would get actual good parachutes and not mess with them at all. He demanded that they should land in Seattle or near the Seattle area, give him the money, drop all the passengers off, and then get back up in the air, and he would jump off. Or else he would blow up the plane. The FBI was soon involved after he made his demands. They decided they were gonna go to the Tacoma Air Force Base, and they circled around the base for 2 hours while trying to get everything set up right. And the original flight is only like 35 minutes. So if I was another person on that flight, I would have been pretty pissed. They landed, then took off again for Reno at 7:40 p.m., which is past sunset already in November. Yeah, he demanded that the attendants stay by his side, even though he was the only one on the plane left. And he still remained calm and confident. The Florence Schaffner, who was a flight attendant, she described him as not like any other criminal. He was just kind of a normal, smart guy, I guess. Oh yeah, and then on the 727 plane, there's they board from kind of under the plane, like at the back. That's called the aft air star. And as they were flying, he told the flight attendant that he was gonna demand that it be open, and she was pretty scared when he said that, because like as the air pressure in the plane is very different from that when you're super high up in the air. And it would kind of suck everything out if it was open. So she got super freaked out, but he let her go up to the cockpit with the rest of flight attendants and pilots. Her name was Sarah Mucklow, and she was the last person to see him. He tied the bag of money to his waist, and then at 8 p.m., the Air Star was open. They got a little signal, I guess the pilots did. They called back, asking if he needed any other assistance. There was no response, and so they kind of thought that he had probably jumped out somewhere over Southwest Washington. So they continued from after the Air Star was open all the way to Reno because they still didn't know if the bomb was on board or anything. They didn't want to go back there, so like get sucked out, I guess. But yeah, they had to land while the stairs were still down. It was this whole crazy thing. The FBI didn't start formally investigating in Washington until 12 days later. And for all of 1972, nothing relevant to the hijacking was found, except I think like 2 weeks afterwards, while still in 1971, the flight attendant was like, "Oh yeah, he left his slip-on tie on here." Well, that probably would have been good to have. They made extensive ground searches over Southwest Washington, down by Mount St. Helens area. And the whole investigation was pretty cool. The FBI did a lot of flight testing, dropping like weights to see, would it change the flight path at all? Because apparently like the plane like shook after it jumped off or something. They made him a wanted person. And then in the 1980s, there was a new theory that Cooper might have survived, but he probably died and his remains were covered by a Mount St. Helens explosion. And there was really nothing found outside of the plane for a long time, like no physical evidence at all. They couldn't find any of the parachutes. People claim that they found the parachutes, but they couldn't actually tie them to what DB Cooper had. And then in February 1980, $5,800 was found on the Columbia River waterfront. And that also raised a bunch of questions. It was DB Cooper's money that they found. The money that was found, it was after like they really examined it, they thought that it was deposited naturally by the river and not buried there. So during some time, the river picked these bills up and they washed ashore on the Columbia waterfront. This is the only evidence outside of the aircraft that this DB Cooper thing happened. And then they started profiling people. They thought it might be an Air Force veteran from the Pacific Northwest. They really didn't have much on him. He just became a ghost pretty much after he jumped out of that plane. The case was suspended by the FBI in 2016, but local law enforcement still kind of looks into it sometimes. And there's a bunch of suspects and statements that they've looked into. Nothing real connecting to the case just came up. If you search up DB Cooper on TikTok, there's probably like 50 videos of people claiming, "My grandpa was DB Cooper. Like, look at these parachutes. I know that they." I don't think it. Some top suspects: Richard Floyd McCoy. He was a skyjacker. He had a nearly identical method in 1972. He was officially ruled out though because he had an alibi. Kenneth Christensen, he had parachute military experience, been time to it. Robert Rackstraw, ex-Army paratrooper, no physical evidence again. William J. Smith, he was a person that might have had a motive, but there's no direct link to the crime. So, still unknown. All right, so what I thought about this, DB Cooper is obviously a very smart man, but he didn't think it through well enough, I don't think. He jumped into some really thick forest, in kind of at the start of winter in the Pacific Northwest. I think he probably survived the jump, landed somewhere south of Mount St. Helens, but he probably died before he got to use the money. He definitely wasn't trying to meet up with somebody based on him not really caring about the flight path and the time that he was jumping out. And the forests in the Pacific Northwest are really harsh. You can get, lost really easily. There's tons of animals that'll pick you apart. Probably wasn't very fun. I like the hypothesis of the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption burying him and the rest of the evidence. I think that's a good theory and why nobody can find him anymore. I forgot where it's at, but any questions?
So you don't think it's one of the four guys they mentioned?
No, I don't. I think it could be. I thought the one that it was most close to was Robert Rackstraw, the guy who did a similar skyjacking in 1972. But I don't know. They looked into the guy pretty well. They got a warrant for his house. He didn't have any money or anything.
So should we go on TikTok and see the truth then?
Yeah.
All right, good job.
Did you go try to find him?
Now after we're done with the Loch Ness and Bragg Road, so I'm thinking. Solder children?
It's way sadder.
Very big. Don't think it, people.
How much space should I leave on my feet?
I don't know, whatever your part desires to do.
That's not.
All right, I am ready. Go.
Okay.
So this is Slaughter Children. This is a picture of their faces, the picture that went out when they went missing. Over there, down there, we have Maurice, the 14, Martha. Here, they're out of order. She's really weird. Right here is Lewis. Then Jenny, and the little one right here, the youngest, name is Betty. Okay, so the stars. The father, Giorgio Sadu, grew up in Italy, and then he immigrated over to the US to Ellis Island with one of his older brothers. He was no older than 13 at the time. His brother left saying he was homesick. But George Ellis Island changed his name from Giorgio Sadu to George Sauter. He stayed at only 13, which is crazy. And George's he never talked about why he left Italy or why he stayed. Which really interesting later. But he started to make money just working off of railroads, hauling water, just doing whatever he could to survive. Eventually, he started realizing that what people needed was a service to help them get goods from the railroads to their homes. So he started a trucking company doing just that. Later, he eventually got into coal trucking, which led him into the coal mining industry. And he owned a couple mines. But then one of his employees died in a mining accident, and he just felt so overwhelmingly guilty that he sold all his shares. He just went back to trucking. So he met Jenny, his wife, at her parents' store.
This is Jenny right here with their oldest, John. Um, and they had 10 children and moved to Fayetteville, West Virginia. In the background is a picture of Ellis Island. Which brings us to 1945, Christmas Eve. There was 9 children, the Sodders. The eldest, I think it was John, was off working, so he wasn't home that day. But everyone else was. So as far as we know, so Mr. and Mrs. Sodder turned in early for bed, during the evening. The 2 eldest boys also turned in early. They slept in the attic upstairs, on the 3rd floor. Because they had work in the morning. But the kids, the kids were begged their mom if they could stay up and play with the toys. Their older sister Marion had got them. Because she worked at a dime store. She was like, okay, but you remember to do your chores, like clean the chicken coop, do the dishes, etc. And then she went to bed. However, in the middle of the night, there was a phone call. It was an unknown woman on the phone who like asked for a name that Mrs. Sodder didn't recognize. There was laughing, like drinking glasses in the background. And she hung up. And the phone was in another room. And when she looked around, she's on Mr. and Mrs. Sodder's bedroom is on the 1st floor. Same floor as living room and the kitchen. She looked out. She saw that Marion was asleep on the couch in the living room. The lights were still on. The shades were open instead of closed. The door was unlocked. And the chores that the children were supposed to have been doing weren't done. Anyway, she went back to sleep. As she was sleeping, kind of around midnight, she heard a big rubber thump on the roof. For me, anyway, she's like, what could that be? And she went back to sleep. And because she was so, like, she just couldn't sleep to disturb, like, waking up over and over and over. At 1 a.m., she was the first person to smell smoke. Leads us to fire. So, she woke up, smelled smoke. She tried to go into the room with the telephone. When she opened up, the flames. And so their sources say that Marion, the eldest sister, who was like in her 20s, had taken the baby Sylvia, who was like 3 at this time, out of the house. However, it doesn't really make sense because Sylvia had a crib in her parents' room. It makes a lot more sense for the mom, Mrs. Sodder, to have taken Sylvia out of safety. However, there's a lot of details around this that's confusing. I'll explain more later. Anyway, how the story goes that Mrs. Sodder ran out and went to the stairs that led to the attic where the children were sleeping. And there's also there were like 2nd floor bedrooms. It's weird. Anyway, she yelled for her children, and the 2 eldest sons that had gone to bed early because they'd work in the morning came down like their hair singed by flames. And meanwhile, at some point, Mr. Sodder climbed out a window, like broke a window, climbed out, like cutting, like a swath of skin off its arm. We know that because later he was treated in the hospital for injuries. And he ran outside and there was a water barrel and he had like a bucket to try and get water. However, the water was frozen solid because it was winter. And when he tried to go back inside, the fire had consumed all of the downstairs. So he tried and went for a ladder. The ladder was always the same place because he took stock of all he knew, and he knew that the 5 children left were probably in the 2nd floor bedroom sleep. He's like, I have to get up there. I have to save them. The ladder, which was always in the same place, wasn't there. And so instead, he and his eldest sons tried to drive the coal trucks out up against the house so that they could stand on them and try and reach second floor window. But the engines wouldn't turn over and start. Then at some point, it's either Marion or Mrs. Sauter. There are different accounts. But one of the women sprinted over to a neighbor's house to try and use their telephone because the Sauter telephone had gone up in flames. However, they couldn't get an operator. So another neighbor who was placed a call from a tavern, trying to get the fire department. However, still no operator. Fed up, this neighbor drove their car like 2 miles into the city, to alert the fire people, which triggered a phone tree. So essentially, just what it sounds like. Each firefighter has a list of names that they call big tree. Everyone's up and running. In 45 minutes, they say the house was ashes. This is after Mrs. Sauter smelled smoke, so 1 a.m. The fire department got there 8 hours later. Even though it was only half a mile away. So this picture here, right here, is this excerpt over in the yellow. That is the paper, the leader, that was the Fayetteville paper. That was the detail of the event in that week's paper. That's from 1945.
This is a perfect place to stop. We'll pick it up tomorrow right there, right? Half applause for doing a good job. Thank you. All right, good. Thanks, Bill. Very good. Yeah, this is an interesting story. Good ones today. Nice presentations. Good job. And we had a new student today for one period. That was exciting.
Oh.
Keep the solder, no more large nest. Nice job.
Yeah, she's prepping for the test.
Then we're going to Bragg Road.
It's a lot.
Were you able to get everything, or you,
Huh?
were you not this way?
Yeah. I got speaking sun poisoning for my tour for Modern Band on Tuesday.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, geez.
I was only outside for like an hour too.
Has this happened before, or is this a new thing?
First time.
I know, that's not, how are you doing now?
I'm at.
If you go tomorrow, not Monday, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Are you are for the-
How many? Yeah.
And they're recording going up. Looks done a good job. I learned all about Bragg Road. I do like people, look, a light.
Video is the one where they drive past. Because you see light and you can see that there's two lights. Two lights. They look very clear like headlights and they're like, oh my god, it's the ghost
That's
lights.
what the
And
ghost wants us to think.
And the fact that they don't turn off the camera as the car.
That's what- See ya.
People have to go.
How many people?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a little pop up today.
Okay, is there that many people until Monday's people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I was No, I was just wondering. I was just wondering if me and Cassie were wondering if we were going tomorrow or Monday. Because we were going through them fast. I just don't remember how many were left.
I think you have to wait till Monday.
Okay.
You
That's fine.
you have your laptop?
Yeah.
Go get your laptop and one sheet of paper, then I'll, but doors should open across all the things over there. Yeah, just give you a second.
Bro, it's about the lot. So nice.
Who's this? Who's this? Oh, yeah. Shoot, I didn't.
You're still walking in the box. Yes, it was me, but.
Got all those, why is river skipping, buddy? Yeah, this is evil.
I don't know.
How do you get a 100% grade?
Oh, you can see, you just kidnapped her.
Probably. It'll be graded by the end of August. DBQs will be graded.
After a tennis practice.
I don't think so.
Kids might find a way.
Body of slandering me on news. You seen this? They've been slandering me. They call you a crook. They say they're calling you a crook. It's really funny. It's really funny, but basically over the next. I would take that 190.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're not the most. You're not the most days back to the
You know what?
No, I'm, cancel the parade and then.
Should we cancel it?
Cancel the parade.
Might have to, cancel it.
Too much snow.
Too much snow. Actually, it's still my forecast, is still for it to be cold.
You just make a video with the history. It's like full length, make it to the bit. Call them in this method. Yeah.
I'm turning off. I don't think we have to worry about it being bright enough here.
Yeah, I'll run the whole week.
Somebody do horses, bro.
It's covered.
I have a lot of you guys graded, and we'll get a few more done. You've done very well. Nice job. Overall, I would say
It's so good to use.
almost everyone has gotten over 50%. No, people are doing really well. People are doing really well. I'm not kidding. Yeah, you're.
Maybe I had less sugar in your.
I don't want to talk about it.
Why isn't mine?
No, people are doing really well in here. I'm not kidding.
Are you just saving the best for last?
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Jack stink. You should be the
I
great.
do mine.
Oh.
So on Monday, intervention time, I'm going over everything on the last page of that. So the review, I'll go over every one. And there's a very good chance I'll be accurate. So those are things you can use. So I will help you with that. Oh, for its paper. Oh, no. We were doing mysteries and myths in America.
What's your favorite one?
Oh, yellow.
Roanoke's a good one. I like the Unabomber.
Linder did a really good one.
I don't know.
DB was really interesting.
For a while.
You're thinking of DB Cooper. We didn't.
I also like DB Cooper. They had a DB Cooper, the plane he jumped out of, they had one at the Boeing with paper plane. Good plane. I don't think it was the.
I mean, obviously the most, I think it's the most popular thing.
Yeah, it was 727. I got to go. Did I tell you I got to go to Johnson and Nixon's?
Have your laptop, you know. Yeah. All right, let's get going. And where do we finish here?
Yeah, this hat.
There. There.
Are we on time now, Mr. Parker? Where is it?
Well, the card is still recording.
It's not gonna do it right now.
Is you the first that told her? I'll give you one star. What else told her? Because it is missing.
Oh, these aren't the color.
Excuse me, live for a little more than for us. It's like
I'm back. All right. So on Monday, I'll go over all that I can do on that, and then we'll talk about a little bit more. On Friday, we're gonna watch a video for this great documentary series called The 50s. One of my favorites. We only have time to watch one, but it's about there's three big events that triggered the modern civil rights movement, and so it does a great job covering that. So we're gonna be gone this evening real quick after class, but I will post it on Teams. And Be the last one for the final push before the AP exam. What is that?
So, no. I'll eat it. It's like really firm. It's a percent.
Taste it.
It's a patrol.
Don't taste, don't.
Petroleum.
So we got through here.
It's a patrol.
We got FBI, NSA, CIA. Does that look right to everybody? What was the doctrine? That would be,
Truman.
yeah, the Truman Doctrine. What is it? If one country falls to communism, all its neighbors will fall. What is it called? Domino. And what, so it's gonna go, we already talked about this. Greece, Italy, France, England. What's next? Wyoming. All roads lead to Wyoming. And so we're through this. Let's get going on this. Oh, you notice that little McDonald's in the background? Oh, pretty cool, huh?
Maybe I'll go to a meeting.
So. The National Security Act, which we created this, now that we gotta be looking for what's it called where you try to stop communism everywhere because it's like a disease? And it would be written in the long letter by George Kennan. What was that called? It would be the basis of the Truman Doctrine. We got. The letter was called the long letter, but what did he call the idea that we gotta stop them everywhere? Continue. He wrote that in the long letter. Did you say it? I just missed it. I'm sorry. And what color suit should everyone wear? Gray. So, the United States will never be the same after the National Security Act. This is a big shift. It was always seen against what the founding fathers wanted, the ideals of the United States to have a strong permanent military. But the big thing is intelligence, spies. And this created the national security state. Presidential power went up exponentially because who's running the FBI, the CIA, the NSA? It's the president. And one more thing. War, he might not have time for a declaration of war. So when the law acknowledged that the president might have to go to war without a declaration, which violates the Constitution. But the idea was this. Oh, there had been wars without a declaration of war, but they were very rare. Now they're all the time. Think about it this way. This is what they looked at. Let's say it's 1955. And all of a sudden they pick up Soviet bombers coming over the Arctic towards the United States. In 1955, where would they be picked up? Down here. Southern Canada, Northern United States. How long would you have the bombers were there?
4 seconds.
Not quite that, they're bombers. So, half hour? 3 hours? Before they start hitting their first targets? Is that enough time to ask Congress for a declaration of war? So that was the logic at first. And then one more thing. Think about 10 years later. ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles coming over the Arctic. In 1965, by then we have what's called the distant early warning and also radar stations in Greenland, et cetera, to pick up missiles. They'd pick them up over the Arctic. Got 15 minutes. Today, there are satellites in geocentric orbit around areas that we might think attack us. So China and Russia today, they would pick it up, take about 10 minutes to confirm, so you got 20 minutes. Not enough time. But by opening that door, we're saying war might happen any time. I've told you this before. When's the last time the United States has declared war? Yeah, World War II. And the war, whatever it is now, and it's Iran, that was purely the war by decision of one man. So that's where we're at now. So, these are all the presidents who got this expanded power through this day. And I took these pictures for one very important reason. But they all look kind of creepy. That was my plan. Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford. Carter? Carter's scary. Yeah, Carter's really scary. Reagan and George H.W. Bush. And so I'll tell you my age. I was born when one of these people was president.
Eisenhower.
Truly? Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. You know, clean living. So, one of the things, there's gonna be a veil of secrecy in the government, meaning a shadow government. Once you have covert operations, that by definition, spies and intelligence gathering has got to be secret, or your enemy might find out what that means is there is now a government that operates below public knowledge. Even Congress does not know all that they do. Give me one sec.